satisfying the following condition. So they give you two conditions and they ask you to identify which quadrant the angle is located. Now remember that cotangent of theta has to be less than 0, so therefore the cotangent has to be less than 0 or negative. Cotangent and the tangent have the same sign, so the reciprocal of cotangent is your tangent, and because less than 0, that means that tangent has to be negative. Cosine of the angle has to also be less than 0, so therefore your cosine has to be negative. So the best thing to do is just to build your y-axis and your x-axis, and we're going to place a sign of each of the numbers in each quadrant. This quadrant will be positive and positive. This quadrant will be negative and positive. So any number in this quadrant will have a negative x and a positive y. And this quadrant here will be negative and negative. This quadrant here will be positive and negative. Now, in order for the tangent to be negative, we know that your x's and y's should have different signs. So whenever you divide a positive by a negative, or a negative by a positive gives you a negative. So it's either going to be on quadrant 2 or quadrant 4. Now, your cosine are your x values, and your x values have to be less than 0, so they have to be negative. So your x values are negative on quadrant 2 or on quadrant 3. So therefore they both overlap on quadrant 2. So your answer is letter B.